Toss to White. He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl!
Welcome to Patriots Touchback Podcast.
Who are you? I'm no one.
I was ready to do one thing, but I've got nothing to fight for.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
There are stories about what happened.
It's true.
Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
The dark side. A Jedi. They're real.
The Force. It's calling to you. Just let it in.
If that doesn't get you pumped up for the AFC title game, I do not know what will. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Patriots Touchback Podcast. It is Season 3, Episode 52. We are here to do the preview of this, frankly, epic encounter as the New England Patriots travel to Mile High to play the Denver Broncos. It's going to be an absolute critical game for us. It will be tomorrow night now. We are literally just under 23 hours away from kickoff. I cannot maintain my excitement. I am going to lose sleep over this game, but we have got a lot to talk about. I've got Kieron on standby for me tonight. We don't have a Denver Broncos fan on, which is a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. Make sure you smash the like button, go on spike the subscribe button, tell all your friends, follow us on social media platforms, and make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify and on Apple as well. Kieron, how are we doing? How's your week been, my friend?
All good. That Star Wars edit gave me chills. I really enjoyed that. And you know, I'm not the biggest fan of TikTok, but I will give praise to whoever made that. So fair play. Yeah, all good. Looking forward to it. I can't quite believe we're about to sit here and preview an AFC Championship game. I mean, months ago, going into the season, this just seemed like way beyond any expectation, and yet here we are in late January talking about an AFC Championship game and the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's something we were used to in previous years. I don't think anyone saw this coming this year.
No one did. No one did. And even the most diehard of Patriots fans who wakes up and thinks they're an onion, I don't think even they would have got their head around 14-3 and making the AFC Championship and 60 minutes away from going to the Super Bowl, in which we are favorites for. But that's what happens, apparently, if you have an easy schedule. Or maybe it's because we got the quarterback and the head coach, just saying. Because that's half the rebuild anyway. Without further ado, let's crack into this, okay? Where do you want to start with this? Because there is a lot to break down. Obviously, the big news that's come out is obviously Bo Nix. He broke his ankle at the end of the Bills game, which is a damn shame because I'll say this, I want fair competition. And Bo Nix versus Drake Maye would be very, very good competition, be a very good game. They are putting in a backup who we know have a familiarity with. Goes by the name of Jarret Stidham. Got drafted by the Pats in 2019. He was a 4th round pick, I believe he was. He came out of Auburn. but he did transfer from Baylor. Apparently, he was very good at Baylor and then not so very good in Auburn. He's played 4 total games in his entire NFL career in the regular season. This is his 5th game starting for a new team, and it's the AFC Championship. Baptism by fire.
Yeah, it's certainly out of the frying pan into the fire for Jarret Stidham. I'm sure he didn't see this coming. And I think Sean Payton caught the whole world by surprise last week when he randomly announced about Bo Nix, and still watching that clip back of the play that it supposedly happened on. Like, I struggle to see where that injury has come from. At first, I thought this might have been a kind of wrestling style kayfabe situation where he's trying to bullshit everyone and give everyone an illusion that Bo Nix is injured when he's not. But yeah, it's obviously an opportunity for Jarret Stidham. But I feel like this is the perfect segue, Carl. I actually talked to you about this in the green room briefly. I need to address this Jarret Stidham elephant in the room, right? Because I don't know what kind of parallel universe we're living in now where the media is fueling a narrative and the chat coming out of Denver, like Jarret Stidham has turned into the second coming of John Elway. Like, I understand that they are trying to do everything they can to put their confidence and their belief in Jarret Stidham being able to navigate an AFC Championship game this weekend and potentially even the Super Bowl after that. But, you know, what I'll say to start with is I don't dislike Jarret Stidham. You know, I always thought he had potential. I was disappointed he didn't get a chance in the Cam Newton season to at least get a couple of starts so we could see what we had in him. The only times he really came in were in games that were gone and he replaced either Cam Newton or Brian Hoyer off the bench. He never got that opportunity to get a full week's worth of reps and start, which was a shame considering, you know, it was a lost season for us in a COVID season. So I definitely think that he's got something about him. And whenever he's played in a regular season game, he's looked okay. I think he's okay. I think he's fine. Like, I'm expecting him this weekend to not be a disaster. I think he'll be okay. I think that he can't be any worse than CJ Stroud was last week. That's certainly a benchmark I think he'll be above. But I think we need to calm the fuck down. Like, genuinely, we do. Like, I am seeing some absolutely absurd comments online about Jarret Stidham. You know, coming from Denver, the media fueling a narrative, and it is built up to, like I said, they're treating him like he's the second coming of John Elway. So the guy hasn't thrown a pass for 2 years. He's now being thrown into an AFC Championship game against a team that, regardless of the record, has won 2 playoff games against 2 very good defenses, has a very good defense themselves, and is now coming into your building as 4.5-point favorites. Like
3.5.
Oh, okay.
The line's dropping.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough. The line's dropping, but still, like, I think it's just got a bit out of hand. I understand wanting to support him, but it is honestly the nonsense I've been seeing on social media the last few days that Stidham is suddenly an elite quarterback out of nowhere and is miraculously going to lead the Broncos to glory. It's like, relax. Like, you're putting far too much expectation on him more than anything. And if he comes out on Sunday and plays really well, good on him. Good on him. As I said, I don't dislike him. I wanted him to get a chance with us. But let's just calm it down. We're not watching an elite quarterback about to go to work this weekend, because there's a reason why the guy's played 4 games since 2019. Like, he's been a career backup. Calm the fuck down.
Who are you referring to? There's a lot of these people, or these people on X, where they've got their profile picture, the picture of Jarret Stidham with AirPod, with it like earphones in and wearing sunglasses. Because
no, I've seen a few like clips from podcasts and stuff. I've seen comments from the players, like John Franklin Myers coming out and saying that Jarret Stidham runs the scout team better than Drake Maye has played quarterback all season, was one of the most obnoxious and like egregious comments I have ever heard. I mean, they are ultimately trying to blow smoke up his ass, and I think that they just need to temper expectations a little bit. Like Sean Payton has an excellent record of getting backup quarterbacks ready for games. His record with backups is pretty good. And I'm sure he'll be fully prepared, and the game plan will be very structured for him this weekend. But let's just relax a little bit. Like he's not going to go out and look like prime John Elway. It just isn't going to happen.
It's the same. It's the same boot as on the other foot. Let's say, for example, Bo Nix was available, but we lost Drake Maye. We have to play in Josh Dobbs. What, are we going to hype up Josh Dobbs to be our savant, to be our savior?
Yeah.
No, because we'll tell you straight to your face, he is absolutely sorry. But
if the shoe was on the other foot and we were going into Denver with Josh Dobbs at starting quarterback, we'd be absolutely shitting our trousers right now. Yeah, genuinely. It's past the watershed, Carl. We don't need to worry about the beeps. I just think you need to calm down. Like Sean Payton, essentially guaranteeing that the fans are going to get 2 weeks off to relax before the Super Bowl, and they're just getting far too cocky, and that's never a good sign. Okay, if you win the game on Sunday, you can praise Jarret Stidham to the moon. You can talk about all this stuff. But in the build up to it, when you're going out there with a career backup who's not thrown a pass for 2 years, only started 4 games in 6 years or whatever, just calm down. They're just trying to blow smoke up his ass. And it's getting ridiculous now.
So for anybody who hasn't seen it, there's obviously Denver Broncos fans have changed their profile picture to one particular profile picture. As I said, it's Stidham with a pair of headphones in. He's got blackout sunglasses on, and they've been doing it all week, and it is driving me insane. This is a meme, by the way, and if you've never seen the viral LeBron down 3-1 meme, this is basically what it is. The last fan base to do this was the Mavs during the 2024 NBA Finals. They were 3-1 down to Boston. Boston won 4-1 and advanced. Yeah. That's basically, this is what they're relying themselves on. It's copium. It's big up KLS, what you want. Evening, gents. Big up Carl. Remember, said you're a Pats fan from the old channel, but for the life of me, couldn't recall. Big up, mate. Hope you're well. Hope you are, mate. I don't want to see Stidham completely and utterly shit the bed. I mean, as we said, he can't be any worse than CJ Stroud, okay? Because the bar was low. The bar was on the floor at that point in that game with CJ. But we are going up against a much, much better offensive line than, than what we have been. The Texans O-line was okay, not great. The Chargers offensive line was absolutely shambolic. This is one of the best offensive lines for going up. So it's going to be tough. We do struggle to set the edge. So our pass rushers are going to have to be on point with this. We've got no Howell Landry for this game. He's out, which was not surprising. In the last 2 games, he's been absolutely and utterly woeful. Although
he only played 11 snaps in the last game. He was practically not on the field. So
it's basically, I said that.
He's clearly been playing through something that's hampered him in the back end of the season. Which you admire the toughness and his ability to play through it, but it's one of them where if he's not contributing anything to the team as a result of the injury, you're better off shutting him down. And the hope is that because he only played 11 snaps last week, which is obviously nowhere near a full workload, and then is now not going to play this week, and then has a further 2 weeks potentially into the Super Bowl if we do win Sunday, there's a plenty of time there for him to potentially get that rest that he needs to be fresher for that game. So that's the hope. But he's clearly been hampered by something because he's not been the same.
No. So someone posted saying Patriots will be without their regular season sack leader. Yeah, okay. Hal Landry is our biggest sack leader at 8.5. Right, but he hasn't had a sack since the Buffalo game in week 15. So, take that what you will. He's also been carrying an injury since the Titans game, which was way back past week 10. So we know this. And they're trying to argue, and yet led them in sacks during the regular season. And I was like, what whoop-de-do? Myles Garrett led the Cleveland Browns in sacks all season, but did they freaking did they get to the playoff season? No, they didn't. So it's absolutely irrelevant. But that's the regular season. We're not in the regular season. I did say he's a dumbass. Anyway, it's the postseason. He has been carrying an injury since the Titans game. He was horrible. He was horrible against the Texans and the Chargers, which we admit. Anthony Jennings was better. K'Von Chason was better. And apparently he's saying, oh yeah, leading the team in sacks in the regular season means absolutely nothing. The large sample size definitely shouldn't be taken into account. Bro, concentrate on your team, you concentrate on ours. You just watch the box, you just look at the box score. Until you've actually watched Harold Landry play, don't comment. Seriously, don't comment. Anyway. Delusional Pets fan, big up, mate. Buffalo put up 30 points on Denver's defense. Are we supposed to believe the Patriots offense is that much worse than Buffalo? No, but the Buffalo's offensive line is the best in the NFL. Ours is average at best. And that's when Will Campbell is not giving up his assignments, which will probably point me out to the next point for us to try and win this game. Our offensive line. Now, forget the right side. Forget Morgan Moses, Michael Wenner, and Garrett Bradbury. They've done their piece. They've done their bit. Will Campbell in back-to-back games now has had horrendous games. And I don't think we can't sugarcoat it. We can't defend it. He has had bad games in the postseason so far. And this is what happens when you go up against elite defenses. This was the problem that a lot of people, a lot of scouts are saying that against normal pass rushers, he'll be fine. He'll be good. Against the elite, you're like your TJ Watts, your Myles Garrett's, your Max Crosby's, your and your Andersons, your Daniil Hunters, your Joey Bosa's, even Khalil Mack, even though he's 34, he still managed to, he still made Campbell's time live in hell. Will Anderson, that was it. I was never trying to find. He has struggled mightily. How concerned are you going into this game knowing he has to go one-on-one against Nick Bonito, probably one of the best linebackers going?
Yeah, obviously it's it's a matchup that you could be concerned about. Obviously, Bonito's had a fantastic season, 14 sacks, primarily lines up over the left tackle as well. So I'd imagine that's going to be a one-on-one matchup. Has elite get off. He's a very slippery kind of defensive end, in terms of how he generates pressure. I think it's one of them where, okay, I don't want to sugarcoat Campbell struggling the last couple of weeks because that has been the reality. But as I said to you in the Chargers game, like teams have been honing in on that left side of the line for a little while now, with them being rookies. And I think that's just part and parcel of it. I think it's down to the coaches to try and help him a little bit, even if it's a bit of chip help, if it's a bit of play action, just design plays to try and get the ball out quick enough so that Will Campbell isn't having to go on an island. We were dropping back far too much in the last game. Standard drop backs where you take longer to get the ball out. Drake's in possession of the ball longer. You're asking your lineman to block for longer. I think that's off the back of last week. I wonder whether Josh McDaniels is maybe, adjusting the offensive scheme a little bit to try and get the ball out of Drake's hands quickly and not leave Campbell one-on-one with Bonito. I think one thing that could be potentially a little bit better this week is, although I don't think Campbell's struggles the last couple of weeks have been a result of length, and I think that is the typical, thing that everyone points out when it comes to Will Campbell, all the dinosaur arm stuff from the summer. But Nick Bonito doesn't have the same length that Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter and some of the other elite pass rushers.
No, but he's quick.
He has quick. Elite get off. I think I would be more concerned in this game, given the environment, given the atmosphere, and given the fact you're probably going to want to run with a silent count the majority of the game. I would be more concerned about false starts than I would probably be pressures, because we know, as we said, Benito's got an elite get off, and if you're running a silent count in that environment, you're going to get jumps. And I think we've got to be prepared to accept that that's going to happen. But I think overall, if you look at Bonito's size and his frame, and he's not as long as those other guys, the hope is that Campbell might be able to, deal with him a little bit better. But Benito's still a fantastic player, and if he gets a sack or whatever, fair enough. He's just a good player. But yeah, they're going to need to play a lot better this week. On the flip side of that, their offensive line, as you said, Karl, is very, very good. I think they only surrendered 6 sacks all season. Garrett Bowles was an All-Pro. And obviously strong on the right side with McGlinchey. They've got Quinn Miners. It's a very good offensive line. So I'm intrigued to see how we attack that and whether we can get any pressure on Stidham. Obviously, the difference is that Bo Nix, likes to get on the move and is athletic enough to make plays with his legs. I can't imagine Stidham's going to be doing too much of that this weekend. I'd imagine he's going to stay in the pocket. So if we can try and collapse the pocket, particularly up the middle where our strength is, then hopefully we'll get a bit of joy there. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting trench battle, definitely.
The interior defense on our side of the ball, Barmore and Milton Williams, they're going to have to be on their A game for this one, because the offensive line is going to cause us a lot of grief. It's going to cause us some issues. I would say regarding of Will that I love the fact he's still playing with his heart on his sleeve. He said he's protecting his guy at all costs. I need to see a better performance out of him, even if he just gives up a sack and a couple of pressures. I'm not bothered by that, because we are going up against a very good pass rush. But don't just leave Drake Maye to die in the pocket. That's not what we need. And the same goes for Jarret Wilson as well. Jarret Wilson has also struggled in the last 2 games as well.
Yeah.
So
I think it's one of them. They often say in football that, if you have a player that's a little bit jittery when they first come on the pitch, the best thing that can happen to them is they get a nice confident touch of the ball or make a decent pass and they can settle into the game. I would almost go to say that you can use that as a bit of an analogy for Will Campbell, in the sense that if he gets a couple of decent blocks early on and holds Benito in check, perhaps even puts him on the floor, the confidence rises. He's going to look at that and go, okay, I think I might be all right here. But if he starts losing early on, then that's when you're worried that the confidence might drop a little bit. So hopefully he can get a couple of early wins, hold up nice and strong in the first couple of drives, and then really settle into the game. And then eventually you'd hope that he can cope with them one-on-one. I think obviously Jarret Wilson's a bit of a different one. They've got Zach Allen, who plays inside, is a very good interior pass rusher. I think he had about 8 or 9 sacks this year. So that's another option as well for Denver. And one thing we've got to be very conscious of, pressure up the middle. Garrett Bradbury has had a good season, but he's by no means the biggest center. Wilson's had his moments. So that's going to be something we're going to have to look at. The running backs are going to have to look at that in pass protection as well. We've seen Travion Henderson absolutely level someone a couple of weeks ago against the Chargers. So hopefully, he's alert to those blitz pickups. But I wonder whether we're going to go a bit more jumbo in this game. We spoke about, are you going to chip Benito and Cooper off the edge with the tight ends? Are we going to play more 12 personnel? I think we might see more Thayer Munford in this game than perhaps we have been in more recent weeks.
Yeah.
As in jumbo formations, get him on the line, 6 offensive linemen, run the ball, and just drive them back. And I think that might be in the game plan a lot more this weekend.
Yeah, so Broncos defense in the AFC Championship, Broncos defense, who we're going up against, is ranked 3rd in scoring, 2nd in total, 3rd in scoring defense, total in second in total defense, beg your pardon, 7th against the pass, 2nd in completion percentage, and 6th in passer rating. However, there are some I think it cancels out both ways here. Obviously, if they do decide to go downfield, they're going to target Carlton Davis, because he's always been the freaking whipping boy for us in the secondary. He's also got the most penalties out of any corner in the NFL, 13 penalties. Do you know who's second?
Riley Moss
for 12. Yes.
Yeah.
So he's gonna get a bit of booty come his way. If you know, you know. So that's going to come a point there. I look at let's have a look at some comments. Our DJ's in their building. The late of the Texas game was jumbo. It was.
Yes,
and I think we need to see that more in the running game. We need to run the ball more. I think running up the gut is not going to work. This Broncos interior is pretty bad. Is pretty good. However, if you watch that Bills game very closely, they played a lot of outside zone, and they managed to find some big holes in there. If I'm McDaniels, I'm looking at. I don't think they have the because when we saw the Texans, they had the secondary that had the speed and the strength to literally shut our screen game and shut our short game down. I don't think Denver have got that sort of speed that the Texans have. So I think in this game, you've got to look at screens. You've got to look at quick dump offs to the run to trade. I think this could be a Trayvon Henderson type of game. And I know we say Stevenson has been our best running back, but styles make fights. This is a fight. This is a style I think Henderson could actually make do of.
Yeah, you want to try and get the 1-2 punch going nice and established early in the game. This Denver team, you say about the defensive line, but you can run on this team. I think they were kind of middle of the NFL in terms of their overall run defense this year. So, they can be exploited. Obviously, James Cook had a big game against them in the divisional round. Okay, yes, he's one of the best running backs in the NFL, but you can definitely get at them on the ground if you establish the run. And I think we'll look to do that early. You don't want to be in a situation where you're dropping back multiple times, as we said about the line, having to protect against the pass rush. You don't want to be forcing the ball against the likes of Pat Surtain and Talanoa Hufanga, who's a very aggressive, box safety. They've got Greenlaw in the middle of the field. So, yeah, I think we will try and run the ball more to dictate the game. So, yeah, I expect to see a lot of Stevenson, but you need to factor in Trayvon Henderson as well and try and get a two-headed monster going. And I think that's where we have the edge in terms of running the ball. We know that J.K. Dobbins didn't make it back in time for this game. So their two running backs are going to be R.J. Harvey and Jaleel McLaughlin, maybe Tyler Bidet as well. They've struggled to run the ball the last few weeks. And as we know, as Patriots fans, since we've had Milton Williams, Robert Spillane, Kyrus Tonga all available, we are giving up absolutely nothing on the ground. Woody Marks had 17 yards last week. And I know these, arguably better players, but, certainly in Harvey's case, but we are shutting down a lot of the opposing team's running game. And I know, obviously, we've had the edge in terms of our D-line getting on top of their O-lines and stuff, but I think if we bottle that up, I think we've got a good chance to contain them. Especially without Dobbins. I think if we can try and force Stidham to throw the ball at our secondary, the way our secondary has played in recent weeks, we're getting excellent performances out of Gonzo and Marcus Jones. The two safeties have been excellent. Carlton Davis, for all his penalties, has still been relatively solid. So, yeah, I think people are totally discounting our defense, Carl. And that is one thing that has made me really annoyed the last few weeks. It's like, oh, yeah, but CJ Stroud had a stinker. Oh, yeah, well, Justin Herbert didn't have an O-line.
Who made him have a stinker?
Yeah.
Who made them have a stinker?
Anyone that's watched these games, watch how good this Patriots defense has been the last few weeks. Everyone's talking about Denver. Amazing defense. Yes, they are. Houston, amazing defense. Yes, they are.
Defenses. The the Chargers is, okay. Texas defense definitely is. But I'll give you something that I think no one's picked up on. Since they come off their bye week, which I believe was week 11? Was their bye week? Week 11, week 12? It was somewhere along those lines. Since they come off the bye week, they're ranked 25th in total defense.
Yeah.
They give up a lot of yardage. And that is where New England can really be exploited. Now, it's depending on the running game. It's depending on Drake Maye having time in the pocket. It's also taking the deep shots as well. Now, as much as he's going to be aiming a lot of Riley Moss's way, I hear a lot of Broncos fans saying, oh, dear, if Drake May's going to throw in the vicinity of friggin' Patrick Surtain, he's going to get picked off all the time. Well, the same can be said for if Stidham throws in Gonzo's region, straight in the penitentiary. So pick your poison.
But this is the thing. Like, we're being discounted on the defensive side of the ball because of the teams and the situations we face. Right. Well, we have dominated on defense the last few weeks. We absolutely put CJ Stroud in a blender, and we decimated Justin Herbert to the point he called childline. Like it was.
I was going to say, I had a different. You use the child line reference. I'll go as far. We kicked his ass so hard that they were nearly booted back to San Diego.
Yes, exactly. So, like, yes, I know we're playing a much better offensive line this time around, but people are discounting this. Everyone's talking about Denver top 5, Houston top 5. These are, and the Chargers are also a top 5 defense. So our last 3 games, including this one, have all been against top 5 defenses. Do you know where ours ranks? 7th. We're only just behind that. So why are we being discounted on the defensive side of the ball when we are the ones that are playing up against a Denver offense, which is very hit and miss, even with Bo Nix, and now they have a backup quarterback? And this is what completely perplexes me when it comes to all this, Jarret Stidham is John Elway 2.0 talk, is that have you watched our defense the last few weeks? It's arguably as good as Denver's in some aspect. Okay,
Patriots defense this postseason.
Yeah.
1 touchdown allowed, 9 sacks, 66 pressures, 6 takeaways.
Exactly. So this is the thing. And if we beat the Broncos this weekend, and we go to the Super Bowl against Seattle and are fortunate enough to win that game.
Oh, hang on. Whoa. You're writing off LA?
I'm just going to make a point. So if we knock off the Broncos, we get to the Super Bowl and Seattle are there as well, and we happen to win the Super Bowl, right? Just using this as a complete hypothetical situation. Everyone wants to harp on about the Patriots haven't beaten anyone this year. They've had the easiest schedule in NFL history. Well, how about knocking off 4 of the top 5 defenses in the NFL this season to win a 7th Lombardi trophy? So fuck your schedule, because that would be a ridiculous run. And I don't think our defense is getting enough credit for putting us in this situation. People also forgetting, and I know he's had a couple of lesser games. Last week had quite a few turnovers, but we do have an MVP candidate quarterback who, despite having 4 fumbles last week, still put 3 touchdowns on that Texans defense. So Drake only needs a few moments. He could have some off moments. He could take some sacks. He might even fumble again, which you hope he won't. But he might throw an interception. But he also might throw 2 or 3 touchdowns again in clutch moments to win us the game. So I think that to say that Denver's defense is going to dominate us, I think, I don't know. I just don't go along with it. I think, we are quite capable of doing the same thing to them on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, I definitely think we are as well. Drake Maye's in a bit of good company, actually, is something I found by Ethan Hewitts. Drake Maye threw for 179 yards last week. He's slowly climbing the rank for most passing yards by a Patriots quarterback in postseason history. He has a real shot to surpass 2 Patriots Hall of Famers, Grogan and Perilli, on Sunday. So Babe Perilli has had 489 yards of the postseason. Tony Eason was in 4th with 561 yards, and Steve Grogan 571. Drake Maye is behind them on 447. He's going to pass Grogan's record.
Yeah, but obviously he's going to be nowhere near Tom Brady.
Oh, he's miles. Where's Brady? 11,388.
Exactly, like a long way to go. But
you got to make Super Bowls in that time as well. Just want to throw this out to you as well from Drake Maye. His first half statistics: 47.1 completion percentage, which is dead last. 6.2 yards per attempt, which is 9th. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the ratio, that's 8th, and 62.4 passer rating, which is 12th. In the second half, second in completion percentage, 77.3. Second in yards per attempt, 10.7. 2 touchdowns to no interceptions ratio, first. 141.3 passer rating, first. They've got to get off to a fast start in this game. You've got to put Jarret Stidham and the Broncos offense on the back foot immediately.
Yeah, if we can try and get a lead and make them play from behind, then I fancy our chances to control the game script, definitely. I think, the last thing we want is them to get off to a confident start and then their defense clamps down. So yeah, I think if we can try and get on the board early with a touchdown, and then say, okay, right, Jarret Stidham, what can you do here? I think that could be interesting. Obviously, you have to factor in so many different things when you go to Denver, but
yeah. Trivia question for you, and this is also on the chat. If you want to have your say in it, you're more than welcome to put your comments in. Jarret Stidham is set to start for the Broncos in the AFC Championship on Sunday. The previous 8 quarterbacks to make their season debut in the playoffs combined to go 1-7 in those games. Who was the only quarterback to win?
That debuted in the AFC Championship.
Or debuted in the... is it? Set to start for the Broncos? No, it debuted in the playoffs.
Debuted in the playoffs?
It's quite a significant game as well. Very, very well known.
I have not got a clue.
Frank Reich, Buffalo Bills, 1992. Okay. Or as we are known as 35-3.
That was 2 years before I was born, so yeah.
No, you just know it's sort of just know you hit a bit of history lessons there you got there. Our weapons are going to need a bit of a little bit of rebuttaling, because you look at what we've got. Stephon Diggs, we're going to need him. We're going to need him more than ever. We are so going to need him more than ever now. Hunter Henry as well. He's going to need to be in the intermediates. He's going to be in between that 5 and 10 yard line. We're so going to need him to be in for the safety valve we need him for. However, we did get some news just before we went online. And that's this. Mac Hollins is back. Designated to come off IR after coming from an abdominal injury. He is going to be playing in the in the Denver game. And I've been saying this for a while. I think I probably said it throughout most of the postseason. We've missed him, and I hate to say it, but Matt Hollins is just he's got that 6'4" presence about him, where it's like, yeah, I can rely on you to catch the ball. So it's massive. It's massive to have him. It's massive to have Hollins back.
Yeah, it is 100%. Like we said, he was feasting on linebackers in coverage, feasting on nickel corners that are undersized, just by using his sheer size. And Drake was just, throwing a ball, nice and high where only Mac Hollins could get it and come down with it. So now that option's back, so we can attack them over the middle of the field with Mac Hollins. I'm intrigued to see kind of how our offensive lineup matches up against their secondary. So we know that Mac's primarily going to, as I said, try and get matched up on those nickels as a big option over the middle of the field. Stephon Diggs has been playing pretty much out of the slot recently too. So I'm intrigued to see what they do with Pat Surtain, to be honest, and like who he shadows, or whether he just sticks to one side of the field, or whether he plays off or whatever.
You would like to suspect he's going to be glued to Diggs.
Potentially. It just depends on where he lines up and whether he goes in one particular position, whether he keeps to one side of the field, whether he shadows one person, whether he's moving on to different targets and whatnot. Like, if I'm Denver, I'm almost wanting to eliminate the threat of what happened to Derek Stingley last week, where I would look at the Patriots' biggest threat in the receiving game being Kayshon Boutte down the field. So if I'm Denver, that's who I'm putting Pat Surtain on Kayshon Boutte. But I don't know whether we're going to get Boutte on Riley Moss. Like, that's a matchup that I would quite like to see. So I'm intrigued.
Either Boutte on Riley Moss or Kyle Williams on Riley Moss.
Yeah. I don't know how they'll match us up. One thing I am certain of is on the other side of the ball, I'm pretty sure Gonzo will be exclusively on Cortland Sutton.
100%.
And I'd imagine that would see Carlton Davis matched up with Pat Bryant, who is, looked pretty good last week before he got absolutely wrecked after those 3 catches early on. So, I'm intrigued to see what the matchups are in terms of coverage. But having Mac Hollins back as an option is massive. I'm excited to get him back and hopefully can have a big game over the middle of the field, because if Denver are taking away the perimeter and you can't get Boutte going down the field and Diggs is being shut down, you're going to need Mac Hollins to step up. And yeah, as DJ says there, pop, yeah, maybe some gadgets type stuff, work him over the middle of the field. Kyle Williams obviously can provide your speed option, although him and May are still trying to find that connection. Obviously, had a couple of times last week where he was targeted down the sideline. Now, one thing for certain is Kyle Williams is getting open, and his release has been excellent. You know, that release down the sideline last week against Lassiter, where he left him for dead. But I think that was a combination of a miscommunication. I think I don't think he angled his route well enough to where May thought he was going. But also, you got to factor in the game was snowing. It was snowing in the stadium. The weather was disgusting. It was windy. It was snowy. So that you can kind of forgive him for that. But they are.
It's going to be freezing. It's going to be freezing cold in Denver. It's going to be like something like -6.
Yeah. So like they need to work on that communication to unlock those deep shots. But having Hollins there is another option. It's another thing that the Broncos are going to have to be conscious of. It's another player that they're going to have to keep an eye on over the middle of the field. And if they put too much attention on Mac or on Diggs, or if they think the boot is the threat, then maybe that unlocks Pop and Kyle Williams. But yeah, we'll see.
So the England Patriots put up a really good comment here. I need to look it up, but I bet Henderson was better rushing yards with Hollins playing. That also adds another dimension for Hollins as well. He is a very, very good blocker.
Yes, he is.
So he might. So we're going to need him. We might go huge jumbo package, i.e. we might go Ty Mumford here. And let's just say you have got, Stevenson running the ball. But if you have Mac Hollins on that line as well, that adds us another like a 7th lineman.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we've pretty much been running with 2 tight ends all season as well,
Yeah, but they're finessed. I've described Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper now. They're finesse tight ends.
Yeah,
they're not. They're not your big. They're not their Gronks. They're not their Aaron Hernandezes. They're not their Ben Coates. They're not that.
No, they're not. But like
Watson,
I said, we've only
Watson as
running
well.
with 2. Dipri's been on the roster, but has been inactive or hasn't really done an awful lot in the passing game anyway. But Mac Hollins, we said earlier in the season, was playing that kind of hybrid tight end receiver role anyway. And like we said, excellent run blocker, huge presence, physically over the middle of the field. So that opens up a few more packages that you can use with him.
Definitely does. I'm looking forward to this game. I'm going to be nervous. Our record in Denver is horrendous in the postseason. It's 0-4. We haven't won. That was with Brady and Belichick. It's a completely new coaching staff, new team, new identity, new ideas. However, I did mention it would be -6. We also got to mention as well, it's at Mile High, 5,200 feet above sea level. How much of the altitude is going to take its toll on us? Because we've flown out there this morning, and usually it would take about a few days to get used to, the altitude. And someone said it takes like 2 weeks to fully get integrated by it. But saying that, Jacksonville did go to Denver. They flew out on the Friday morning the same way we did and completely beat the shit out of them. But that was also when it wasn't cold. That was like on a nice warmish day in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah. I mean, the cold weather isn't as much of a factor for us being a northeast team that plays outside anyway. So I don't think that's a factor at all. We'll be used to that. Obviously, the altitude does create a problem. Something that we're not used to. But it's just part and parcel of going to that stadium. I'm sure that the medical staff and the trainers and whoever will have all provisions covered, whether that's oxygen or IVs or whatever, prepared for the players. I'm sure they'll be preparing for that being a thing. Obviously, it's a hostile environment to go into. It's very loud. Like I said, I'm expecting a lot of silent counts to go on. That's why I said, I don't think we should be getting annoyed if we get a few false start penalties. I think that's just part and parcel of playing in Denver. I'd rather have a 5-yard false start than I would, a
10-yard holding penalty or something.
10-yard holding penalty or potentially an 8-yard sack or whatever. So I think we're going to have to be patient with that.
But you're
But
also,
it is tough.
also as well, Drake. We can't keep putting Drake May in 3rd and 6 and beyond. It can't be
No.
3rd and long. We've got to keep him in 3rd and 5 and lower situations,
Yeah.
because that's
And
where we've struggled, and that's where we struggled to run the ball as well.
and that's where the play calling needs to come in, right? I was quite frustrated last week with Josh McDaniels, where we were pretty much running on up the gut on 1st down on every single drive for either a loss or a 1 yard gain or whatever. We can't keep doing that again. As you said, Carl, we can't keep getting ourselves into 3rd and long situations or 3rd and medium. You want to at least give yourself an opportunity to convert on 3rd down. If we can try and get the crowd rattled early on and try and get on the board and frustrated, then that's going to be obviously a bonus. But it's not an easy place to go. You mentioned our record, Carl, but the last one there was in 2015. I remember that game. As you said, Brady and Belichick. But let's have a bit of perspective, right? Going into that game, Julian Edelman was hobbled. Obviously, we missed an extra point. We were a 2-point conversion away from taking that game to overtime, and we had Steven Jackson at running back, who was completely washed at that point, that we'd only signed midway through the season because we had injuries at the position. He was like completely done. And one of the receivers we were thrown to was Keyshawn Martin. I mean, what's he even doing now? Probably, I couldn't even tell you. I bet if you Googled him, it wouldn't even tell you where he is now. We were completely depleted in that game. Denver's defense was outstanding. You think about DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller, Justin Simmons. This was a phenomenal defense. Probably better than the one they've got now. And we still nearly beat them on the road. So I don't factor too much into that with the record, because as you said, we're 10 years on from that game now. It's completely different teams, new coaches, new players, completely different eras for both franchises. I don't really think that makes much of a difference. Yeah, I'm expecting it to be a dogfight. I'm expecting it to be close. I think, as you said, the line's dropped. I think it opened at 5.5. You said it's now at 3.5. So that's dropped a little bit. I think it's going to be within a 1-score game, definitely. And I think it's going to be a defensive scrap. But I have confidence in Drake Maye and our offense being able to put points on the board, whereas Jarret Stidham going up against our defense is a bit of an unknown. So we'll see.
Coaching is key in this game. Whilst our coach has been very, very professional, he hasn't said much. He's just talked about the game, talked about the players, and so on. Sean Payton has, how to put it in the politest way, started to kick the hornet's nest a bit, shall we say?
Yeah,
with his rather outlandish remarks, saying that I'm not worried about Jarret, I'm just worried about everybody else. I'm like, right, okay. I don't think you even believe that in yourself, mate. If I'm going to be honest with you, apparently he also said as well he had 2 weeks, so the fans are going to be fine because they're going to have 2 weeks after this. They're going to have 2 weeks rest. In which case, on Booty, it's a little bit of a misstep. But I'm glad. But I like the response that he did go after, which is basically saying, yeah, I don't know. I mean, they can rest it. I mean, he said they can rest in Cancun for 2 weeks. They can rest in Cancun in 2 weeks' time, for all I care. So they're not letting one thing Patriots don't do. They don't leak anything out. They don't bite because that's what Sean Payton does. He's an antagonist. We've got to remember he was in charge of Bounty Gate after all. So. Is it I would say sportsmanship? Is it just playful tactical shithousing, or is this just him being a dick?
I think it might be a bit of both. I think he might be an antagonist and trying to play mind games, but also being a dick at the same time. But like I said, I think there's just been a lot of cockiness coming out of Denver this weekend. We spoke about the Jarret Stidham situation, and I just seen that. So and yes, we have to respect their defense. It is a very good defense. We're going into their place. It's going to be loud. It's going to be tough. And if they're going to win, their defense is going to need them to win them the game, I think. But yeah, like I said, you can't discount the fact that we are coming in to this game as the favorites with a very good defense ourselves, with an MVP level quarterback. Like, we are more than capable of winning this game. And I think cockiness is only going to get you so far, and it's going to make them look bad if we go into there this weekend and batter them.
Well,
Let's
I got like
don't get me
50, I got like 50 bookmarks ready to go if we do
Yeah.
beat Denver, because
Like-
I guarantee you they're either all going to be there or they're all going to be gone, because then they've made an absolute fool of themselves, the fans.
Houston also have an excellent defense, arguably the best in the league itself.
Yeah.
But we still scored 28 points in the game. Okay, yes, one was a pick six, so the defense still gave it 21
We
points.
scored 21 points, but here's the
We
bit. Here's the
scored
bit.
21
Here's the
points.
bit. Drake Maye scored 3 passing touchdowns on that
He did.
defense.
Yes.
And guess what else? He's the only one to do that all season.
The only one to do it
The
all
only
season.
one to do it
Yeah.
all season.
The only one to do it all season. They can be got at. And it's what we said before the game last week, Karl, that if we scored more than 20 points, we felt confident we would win the game. I would say exactly the same thing applies this weekend again. I think if we get more than 20 points, I think we win the game. I can't see Denver scoring more than 20 with a backup quarterback in place against our defense. I just don't think it will happen. So I could be wrong, and I could be eating humble pie next week, but that's just the way I see it.
The one thing that we don't do on this show, right? We don't like say, "Oh, you shit, you're gonna get absolutely battered," this, that, and the other. That's not us. No, that is not us. If Denver comes out and wins, yeah, we're going to be a little bit embarrassed, because obviously we just lost to our backup quarterback. But you also have to look at this on the other side of the fence, which is we weren't expected to get this far. We was not expected to get this far. At the end of the day, we should be privileged. We should be privileged, that we got this far. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to completely take out of context if there's a scoreline. If we do end up losing, but if we don't, what's the narrative going to be? Oh, you only beat a backup quarterback.
I know the goalposts keep getting moved every week.
It's just getting boring now. It's either you have a bias to New England, or you're more on when it comes to sports.
It was going into the Chargers game. They haven't played anyone all season. This is the first good team they've played. We absolutely decimate them. Oh yeah, but Justin Herbert doesn't have an O-line. Okay, fair enough. Move on to the next week. We play Houston. Oh, this is the best team they faced all season. That defense is going to feast on them. Stroud's going to expose them. Oh, look, Patriots won 28-16. Stroud had 4 turnovers. The Patriots defense dominated once again, and we put 21 offensive points on the board. Drake Maye, the only person to throw 3 touchdowns on that Houston defense all season. Oh, look, we're suddenly in this game. Oh, yeah, but now they're not going to beat the Broncos, even with Jarret Stidham, that defense on the road. If we do it, it'll be, well, yeah, you only beat a backup quarterback, and then we'll get to the Super Bowl and probably play Seattle. And it's like, yeah, but you only beat Sam Darnold. And it's just like, at what point do you just have to give the team some credit? Like, if we get to the Super Bowl, at the end of the day, people can say what they fucking like, right? But if Drake Maye and Mike Vrabel are on that stand in Santa Clara with a 7th Lombardi in their hands, that is the only evidence you need that this is a good team that deserves to have won that trophy, and you cannot take the trophy away from them. So, because 31 other teams failed, it doesn't matter about who we played or the schedule or moving the goalpost to discredit everything. If we're holding a Lombardi, we won it. 31 other teams didn't. Sorry.
Here's the bit where everyone keeps on forgetting as well, mate. It's saying, oh, you haven't played anybody decent, haven't played anybody decent. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, we're 16-3.
Yeah.
If we play Denver, that's 17-3. That's 20 teams. And we're going to play another team in the Super Bowl. So if we do win, what are you basically saying? 21 teams in the NFL are fucking useless.
Yeah.
That's not our problem. That's an NFL problem then, if that's the case. That's not our fault. Line them up, knock them down.
Yeah, exactly.
And why I was saying that, people want to blame us for the easy schedule. Easy schedule, sweet. I will hold that level of high standard. That level, no, it's not really high standard. That fucking bar, which is on the floor of a strength of schedule, to the Cleveland Browns. They have the easiest strength of schedule next season. So guess what? I expect you to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I do not want to hear your bullshit excuses why you failed. Because we done it. We done it. So surely you can do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that being said, let's get into our picks. This is the most heated I've ever heard you on this show, by the way. It's actually quite therapeutic. I love it. Okay. Let's go for predictions. So, DJ has gone for 23-13. Nick has gone 24-20. What is your pick? I'm assuming you're taking New England to go to the Super Bowl.
I am going to play a clip through my phone, and I hope the audio picks this up. Now, you'll get this reference if you have seen this particular Disney film from probably about 20 years ago.
Oh,
so this is my prediction. Are you ready?
Go for it.
23-19! We have a 23-19!
Boy, Wazowski looks like he's in trouble.
23-19! We have a 23-19!
That, of course, is a reference to Monsters, Inc. I'm going New England 23-19.
Jesus. I think we're all in the same.
Through, okay? Did you hear that?
It did come through, but it sounded very grainy. But I got the most of it. It's fine. So you're going 23-19. Okay. So DJ has gone for a 10-point swing. Nick's gone for a 4-point swing, and you've gone for a 4-point swing. My prediction is this: we are going to the Super Bowl. 26-17.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going for a 9-point swing. I've got us covering the spread. I've got us covering. Well, me and DJ have got us covering anyway. Actually, we're all covering.
I have lines dropped to 3.5. I didn't before, but
118. Big up Vacina 8655 2316 Broncos. Okay. Okay then, Vici. We expect you on Tuesday night then if we do end up winning.
Like I said, an awful lot of confidence coming from Denver at the moment. We shall soon see.
An awful lot of confidence for a backup quarterback called Stidham.
Yeah.
The only thing I say is he's almost as handsome as Jimmy Garoppolo. That's the only thing I will give him credit for.
Very similar players, actually.
Very similar players. And we both kicked them out. So, yeah. Anyway. Right. We do have one more game. We're not going to go into a massive preview on it. We're just going to have a little bit of a deep dive into it. It's the NFC Championship game because that could be our opponents in 2 weeks' time. LA Rams at Seattle Seahawks. I've booked half day off work already for this. Although I'm looking forward to watching my Patriots game, I am so looking forward to this NFC Championship game. I think this is going to be an absolute classic.
It could be. Do you want my score prediction?
Go for it.
I've been alluding to this fact throughout the entirety of this show, really, haven't I? I think Seattle are going to the Super Bowl. I think they're the rightful favourites. I backed the Chicago Bears to win last week and obviously got that wrong against the Rams.
No!
I just think that the Rams have been riding their luck a little bit too much in recent weeks. And going to Seattle in an NFC Championship game is not an easy thing to do. Just like, our game's not going to be easy, but that is not an easy thing to do in that environment. I just do not see the Rams knocking off the Seahawks on the road. So I am going to go Seattle to win 28-20.
I think it's going to be less than 8 points. I'm going 31-29 Seattle. I've got it that close. Home field advantage, better O-line and D-line, Super Bowl winning coach. O-line, I agree with. D-line, nah. Stidham's going to be running for his life when he's got Barmore and
a better pass rush. I would give you the coach thing. That was a long time ago. Okay, Peyton's still a fantastic coach, but so is Mike Vrabel. I think. I think you can make an argument on those points you've raised, but there are other factors to this game as well. One being the fact you've got a quarterback who hasn't thrown a pass in 2 years playing against our defense, which has been unbelievable the last few weeks. So
And also in that last game against the San Francisco 49ers was week 18, he was playing for the Raiders in Vegas, inside in an indoor stadium. It's -6.
yeah,
And Drake May's already been accustomed to, it's not going to be not that bitterly cold, but at least he's been accustomed to the cold a little bit. Would he wear a glove?
I don't know.
Maybe, because I don't know.
Did you wear a glove last week in the snow?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But I have confidence in Drake Maye. I have a lot of confidence in our defense. I have a lot of confidence in Mike Vrabel, the coach of the year, an absolute landslide. Like, it's not even close. Like, I know Mike McDonald deserves his flowers. So does Liam Cohen. But for what Mike Vrabel has done, it's just ridiculous. So we've got the coach of the year. Fair point. Don't need to be just efficient, but you don't even know if he's going to be that. That's the thing. It's such an unknown. And I would rather bank on a quarterback that's in the finals for the MVP, to be completely honest with you. Like we said, last week, Houston got a lot of pressure on Drake Maye. We played against an excellent defense. He fumbled the ball 4 times. He took a few sacks, but he still scored 3 passing touchdowns on that Houston defense. So, you might get a lot of pressure on him. You might sack him a few times. You might force a fumble, but we'll still score points in the game. So I think that's what it comes down to. I'd bank more on that than Jarret Stidham being able to put points on our defense that has been stingy as hell.
May had a great year on the road against this D line. We've gone up against the best D line in football, mate, in the Houston Texans, and guess what?
And remember, we're
still beat them,
undefeated on the road this year as well. We're undefeated on the road this year.
Yeah, but that means something's got to give. Something has got to give.
Yeah. So, I have confidence that we'll be able to do it.
Yeah. Right.
But it's going to be a great game regardless. Enough of the to-ing and throwing. Let's just watch it and enjoy it. Eh?
Enough of the shit talk. Enough of the pandering. We are literally under 22 hours away from the game. It's going to be fun. It's going to be nerve-wracking. But we'll just have to see what happens. I'm looking forward to this game. Really, really am. And to go back to the Super Bowl again, that's going to be even more delightful. But we've got to get through Denver. Let's see if we... One
thing we haven't actually mentioned, Carl, before we get out of here, and it's one thing that I think could be a factor this weekend, that we've not mentioned it at all, the kicking game. I think both in terms of returns as well, because obviously Marcus Jones is a big threat for us as a returner.
Yes.
I think with the thinner air, punts are going to travel further. And they have an excellent kicker in Will Lutz, one of the best in the league, no doubt. I would definitely say he's a top 5 kicker. And obviously we have Andy Borregales, who has a big leg. Could it come down to potentially, kickers having to make some big plays?
Yeah, Will Lutz has been pretty automatic so far for Denver.
Yeah, Lutz is pretty good. I mean, Andy Borregales has been a pretty solid rookie for us. I wonder if it's going to come down to a big booming kick, 50+ yards. Could it be a kick to win the game for either team? With that added range in the altitude, you just don't know if the kicking is going to be a huge, huge part of this. So, we'll see. Up the special teams. Jeremy Springer, shout out to him, my guy.
Yeah, I hope for a special team touchdown for Marcus Jones. I really, really do. I'll be bouncing. I'll be absolutely bouncing. But yeah. Right, enough of the talking. The game's on tomorrow night, and it's going to be nerve-wracking, and it's going to be fun, nonetheless. So you've got your prediction. You've gone 23-19. I've gone 20. What did I go for again? 26-8. Is it 26? 26-17. Yeah, I went New England. So let's do this. Let's go. Thank everyone who's been watching. Thank everyone who's been listening. Make sure you smash the like button on the way out. Gronk spike the subscribe button. Tell all your friends. Follow us on social media platforms. Make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify and Apple as well. We will be back on Tuesday night for the fallout of the AFC Championship game. And hopefully we've all got smiles on our faces that we're going back to the Super Bowl and not feeling a little bit despondent if we somehow, fall off the final hurdle. Which, by the way, Denver fans, if we do beat you, we've got a perfect video for you at the end, at the start of our review show on Tuesday night. So you be careful of that. But for now, thanks to Kieron, we'll get on out of here. We will leave you with the same video that we started off with tonight. Good night. God bless. Kieron, we all we got.
We all we need. Go Pats.
Go Pats.
Who are you? I'm no one.
I was raised to do one thing. But I've got nothing to fight for.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
There are stories about what happened.
It's true.
Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
The dark side. A Jedi. They're real.
The Force. It's calling to you. Just let it in.